You know, with all my love of retro gaming, there's never been a series that I've had more of a love-hate relationship with than the Metroid Prime series. Now, I beat Metroid Prime 1 back in 2015, I believe, and moments ago, I just completed Metroid Prime 2 Echoes for the Nintendo Gamecube. Now, I'm going to get into why I have a love and hate relationship with this series, but in Metroid Prime 2, you yet again take the role of Samus, who lands on like a weird kind of planet where it's divided into basically a light and a dark world, and pretty much all the energy from the light world has been sucked into the dark world or stolen, and you have to return it to the light world, and then pretty much face the final boss. Now, in traditional Metroid fashion, this game has a lot of backtracking, and it's very kind of puzzle heavy and intuitive. That's one of the reasons I have a love and hate relationship with this game. I'm not a big fan of backtracking in general, and in Metroid, you know, it's not backtracking for the sense of kind of them running out of ideas. It's backtracking because certain areas have different ways to open doors that you don't get the abilities to open them until later in the game. Which, you know, in that sense, it's fine. However, Metroid Prime to me has always been a game that, for whatever reason, maybe I'm just not good enough, I find extremely difficult in certain scenarios. Now, there was one boss in this game, and I'm not going to give any like hints about it or spoilers, but it's the Spider Guardian, and that boss pissed me off to no end. But once I got past it, the rest of the game kind of seemed very easy. Now, in order to unlock these energy chambers, which house the energy for the alternate world, you have to collect keys. Basically, those keys allow you to get to the final boss of each different world. You have like 4 different areas. They're not really worlds, as I just said, but they all have different sources of light and different bosses. And it's pretty much very similar to Metroid Prime 1 in the sense where throughout the game you collect energy tanks, you collect upgrades to your abilities, you gain different abilities, and, you know, in that sense, it's tried and true to Metroid. Now, where this game and I have the love-hate relationship, aside from the fact that this game gets extremely tough for me at certain points, is I feel like when I'm playing Metroid Prime that I've played a lot more than I actually have, only because at points to me, the game kind of drags. Now, I know people are probably going to be like, well, that's the whole aura of Metroid. It's supposed to be a desolate world and you're exploring. But no. See, to me, I beat this game at about 19 hours, and I stopped playing for about a month, only because I had no will to want to play this game. But I said to myself, this game was not coming with me to 2019. I was going to beat it by the end of the year, and not have to worry about it. Now, 10 hours into the game, I felt like I was 20 hours into the game. And I was exploring. There's points of the game where I really just didn't figure out what to do, and I had to just kind of wander until like something triggered, like a cutscene or something, to kind of lead me in the right direction. And this game does have a hint system, but the hints don't pop up until you've kind of just wandered, and then the game realizes that you kind of don't know what you're doing, and it tells you where you need to go. Now that's very helpful. I really wish this game had an easy mode for people like me. Now, I don't usually say that in games. I usually play on normal difficulty. I see, as my little credits are playing in the background, I did just unlock hard mode, so there is a certain difficulty level. But, you know, all in all, this game, at least it plays interesting. Now, I'm used to normal modern-day first-person shooters, and even first-person shooters in like Duke Nukem fashion. However, Metroid Prime is kind of a hybrid between the two during a period where first-person shooters really didn't have set kind of controls. Now, this game I did find a little tough sometimes when you were trying to aim, and if you were like aiming on something, one little step will take you out of aim and you have to like back up and kind of regain your focus in order to fight your enemies. This made certain boss battles really difficult for me. But you know, after a while, you kind of get used to it and you realize how the fight plays out, and the game starts to become okay. Now, the final boss I had to face about 3 times, which is fine, you know, that works. However, there's a boss after the final boss that should have been really simple, and I had to have died like 20 times. I'm not going to go into who that boss is. You guys can look it up if you feel like it. But, you know, all in all, is Metroid Prime a game I would recommend for people? Now, with Metroid Prime, I feel like it's a game that you have to kind of be dedicated to the extent where you can't just play it for like 5 minutes. Like, Metroid Prime is a game that I feel like you have to have a couple hours on your hand to sit and get into it. Now, when I had that free time, and the fact that I don't have any other game I'm playing right now yet, but the fact that this was the only game I really had to focus on, I started to enjoy it a little bit more. Now, that's why I think I kind of want to reiterate that this game is a game that you have to devote time to. There's no autosave function, there's save spots, there's ammo refill spots, so it's a game that, like, you really can't just turn on, get through an area, shut it off, and expect to be able to pick up right where you left off. You have to find those save spots, which kind of could be tedious at points. But for a game that was released, I believe, in 2004, it does play good still. I know Metroid Prime has a huge following base, or followers base, however you say that. And it's not a bad game. It's definitely a game that takes getting used to. It's definitely a game that, you know, the normal casual gamer might find a little difficult. But once you kind of figure out the gaming, the controls, and how the story goes, because these games, they have a story, but they're not really cutscene heavy. So it's kind of that open world. You kind of explore as you please until you complete certain objectives. Which, I think that's another reason why I think this game and this series kind of always felt tedious to me, was for the fact that there really was no story that developed as time went on. It's the same story that you're told in the get-go, from the beginning of the game, and really nothing changes at all until the end of the game. So there's no plot twist, it's pretty much, here's what's going on, here's your objective, do it. Now, like I said, you do get different upgrades throughout the game, and it makes the game a little more fun, a little more interesting. But to me, Metroid Prime 1 and 2 for that matter, I like them, but there's just something about them that still irks me. So if you have a GameCube still, or if you have a Wii, you can pick up the Metroid Prime Trilogy Collection. I would recommend giving it a shot, see if it's your cup of tea. But for me, I beat it once. I don't see myself ever going back to play this game again. It was a good game, but there's just something about Metroid Prime that really doesn't do it for me. But that's just me. If you love this game, or if you have any opinion on this game, leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. As always, thank you for watching this video. Like it, share it, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other videos. Until next time, it's time to put this one on the bookshelf. And on to the next one. I'll see you guys later.